Hi, this is a quick video to create this assignment. Save it as the file name for your class, and there are several different ways of creating this video based on what we've covered in the class so far. You could create it as separate objects and then union those using these maybe commands here like cylinders, and then you could use solid editing tools to subtract from this bigger cylinder and add to it with the squares and towers, rectangles. One other way is to create it first in a 2D flat surface and then use press pull. This is what we've been working with in class, so this will give you a little bit more practice with it. If you look at the detail, we have a depth of 2.5, so that would actually be the diameter of this bigger outside circle. So I'm going to go ahead and start the circle center diameter tool, pick a point anywhere, and then type in here 2.5. Typing in 2.5 and enter, I've got my first bigger circle. And now if you look at the detail, we have another diameter of 1. So I'll pick center diameter and use the center of that circle I just drew as my center point. I'll go ahead and click and then type in 1 and enter. Now if we want to draw lines from the top and bottom of this circle and even the left and right side, we want to pick up the object snap called quadrant. So down here at the bottom, we've been using the 5th icon, which is polar tracking, and the 6th one there is object snap. So rest your pointer there on the 6th icon, right click, and make sure that there is a blue box around quadrant. If there isn't, then go ahead and click on it. If there already is one, then you can use your escape key to exit out of that menu. But just verify that the 5th and 6th icon are actually blue and on. So that now I can start the line command, go to the top here of the circle and get the quadrant object snap and click, and pull my mouse to the left. You'll see down here in the detail that you can type in 3.25 and enter. And then you can then pull your mouse straight down and type in 2.5 and enter. And then come back over here to the other quadrant and click. And then enter to get back to the command line. Now you can use the wheel of your mouse to hold the wheel down to pan and roll the wheel to zoom it. Double click to do a zoom extents. It's kind of a reminder. We have here these small tower-like objects that are 0.5. So I'll use the offset command. Start the offset command, type in 0.5 and enter. Click here the line to the left and then click to the right. We have another offset here of 2 inches from this line over. So we'll start the offset command, type in 2 and enter. Click on this line at the left edge and pick to the right. And now we have another 0.5 which comes back here from where the 2 ends back to the left 0.5. So we can start the offset command and type in 0.5 and enter. Select this new line here and then pick to the left. We also have 0.5 from the top and the bottom, so I'm already in that 0.5 option. I can click at the top line and pick below it and select the bottom line and click here above it. Okay, I'm ready to use the trim command. If you start the trim command, you can press enter to accept everything as a cutting edge as an option. We won't need to have this line or this one. We can also click out some of these other lines that we don't need in order to create this base. And there it is, the top view of our detail. If you didn't do this already, you can change here your workspace from drafting and annotation to 3D modeling so that you can pick up some of the 3D modeling tools. The ribbon will change so that you have those tools like modeling and solid editing. In the View Cube, which is this cube over here in the top right corner of your screen, you can click at the bottom right corner of this box that says Top. It's in between the S and the E here, so that we can go to the southeast isometric view. Another way of going to the southeast isometric view, if you're uncomfortable with the cube, is to go here to the View tab up at the top, and you will also have in this drop down different isometric views, and also the left and the right and the front and the back, these views over here. And we're going to talk about these a little bit later on in the class. We'll go back to the Home tab here, and now we're ready to use what's called Press Pull. It's over here in the Modeling tab. I can go ahead. It's over here in the Modeling panel. I can go ahead and click on Press Pull, and then go right inside the image here until you see the outline of it highlight, and then click. Pull your mouse straight up, and in the back there we have a height of 1.75 and enter. And that's the same height for this other front one, so I'll go inside that box and click and type in 1.75. Same thing here. Click inside here. We have to wait for it to highlight. Sometimes you have to move your mouse around towards the edges for it to read or recognize that space. You can click, pull your mouse up, and type in 1.75 and enter. And here also 1.75. In this other space between the two, we have a 0.75. So I'm going to highlight here this space between the two sets of towers and click, pull my mouse up and type in 0.75 and enter. Now if you would like to see this a little bit better visually, you can go to the View panel here in the Home tab and change from 2D wireframe to conceptual view. And in either one of those you can change the background. So here I'll go to conceptual. Yours might have a black background with white image, so you could right click and pick options as an option, and in the options dialog box you'll go to the display tab, pick the colors button, and then have here this choice of changing at the top right the color of the background to white or whatever color works well for you. I have this front rectangle, and if you do a little bit of math, you can take the 1.75 and subtract here this 0.75 and find that it's really 1 from the bottom base up in this area here. So I'll go ahead and start the press pull command and go right inside the space until it highlights and click, pull my mouse up and type in here 1 and enter. And it's the same thing in the back, so I'm going to hold my shift key down, press the wheel of my mouse, and move my mouse so that I can orbit to the other side. And then go in this small piece in the back here and click and type in 1 and enter. And then this piece up here in the front that is actually between the two circles is 0.5, so I can click here, pull my mouse up and type in 0.5 and enter. And now I have basically my shape. There it is. It's a detail that has several separate pieces. I can use my escape key to get rid of and out of press pull. But notice here that they're all separate pieces when you select them. So we'll need to use the union command. See how this one's kind of on its own here? I'll do an undo for that. So in the solid editing panel, you see those two blue circles, solid union. Go ahead and click on that. And you can select all of them. Just pick in space and pull your mouse across all of them and click and then enter. And you see how this side is all cleaned up because now it's all one piece. When you select it, the whole thing is highlighted. And you will get one or two lines in here. When you have a curved piece, visually it will show you this one line. Alright, now there are several different ways of printing this. We could put the text right here if we changed our coordinates to look at the view. We talked about that a little bit, but we'll come back to it. Here we're going to create some layers. So we'll go to layers and layer property. And as we did, we can create here a couple new layers using this new layer icon. We can have a layer called text, and press enter twice and type in viewport. The viewports are going to be what we use in layout 1 a little bit later. So now you can change the color of that layer called viewport so that you know that your object is actually on the viewport layer. And most importantly, we want to make it a no plot layer. So click on the little printer icon in this layer manager dialog box so that layer will not plot. And then double click here on the sheet of paper to the left of viewport so that we can make that the current layer. We can close out of this dialog box and see verify that the viewport layer is current. And all that does is when you click on layout 1 down here, it automatically creates here this viewport hole in the paper on that viewport layer. So we don't need this, we won't need that image anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and maximize this. So now you have the sheet of paper. This is the default paper with the margins as a dash line. If I double click inside the viewport, I'm actually in here the model space. This is where you have to be careful that you're not in the model space or the paper space. So double click out here and now you're in the paper layout space. So double click inside the viewport here and notice at the bottom right corner you have all of these numbers that represent the scale. If we printed it at 1:1, then that would be the size of it. If we do here half the size, you'll see that it gets smaller. But if we do a 2:1, let's just see, it might be a little bit too big. For this assignment, we can just go ahead and use your zoom commands to find here a position that looks good. You can double click out in space here to get back to your viewport. Only click once on your viewport hole in the paper, and as a choice you can hold your left mouse button down on that viewport and move it around if you wanted to move your detail. But we're ready to put our text. We know that this box will not print. If we put text right now on the paper, it would be on the viewport layer and it wouldn't print. So let's change this here layer to text. Set the layer text current. Let's go to the Annotate tab, click Multi-Line Text here at the far left, and now I'm ready to click, pull my mouse across, and click. It can go right on top of that line because the viewport layer isn't printing. I'm going to put my cap locks on and type in assignment, and then you go ahead and type in the number of this assignment and then your name here at the bottom. I'm going to highlight assignment, the assignment number title, and then select U to underline it and then click in space. Okay, you can select it and then hold your left mouse button down on it to move it around here and position it the way that you've been working with these details for your portfolio. Save the file and don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or need help.